62a, the Mishnah. We have a fantastic daf tonight. A lot of interesting things. Really, someone should write their dissertation about this stuff. In fact, someone is. So I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. We start off with a halachic section, still about jewelry, but we're going to be switching over to men's jewelry. And then we have a very, very interesting agadah that's also going to be about jewelry. And I think the agadah will actually shed a lot of light on the halacha that's behind it. So we'll start off with the Mishnah, where we ended off yesterday. We did a little bit of the page. We talked about armor that is not permitted. And now we get to lo teseh isha b'machat hanikuba velo b'tabat sheyesh aleha chotam velo b'kol yad velo b'kobelet velo b'slochit shel palyaton v'im yatsa hayevet chatat divrei Rabbi Meir. Okay, now we have a list. Beforehand, the previous Mishnah was a list of things that women may not wear, midrabanan only, right? Midoraita, those things were allowed because they were all jewelry, and she could wear jewelry that is appropriate for her, midoraita, but we're afraid that she's going to take it off and show a friend. But these things are asur, and if she does go out with them, chayevet chatat. That's if she does it by mistake. If she does it on purpose, chayevet sikila. If there's witnesses. So what are these things? Machat nekuba, a needle with an eye, because that's a professional use. That's not a decoration. No one goes around with that. That's a needle that you're going to use for sewing. And the way that they would usually carry it is not in your hand. It's kind of dangerous, but you would carry it around by putting it into your clothing. So that's not allowed. If a signet ring is also not permitted. I saw today some research into the history. It used to be called a gentleman's ring, because only men wore a ring with a signet on it. Women wore a plain ring. So since this is not jewelry for a woman, it is jewelry for a man, so a man can wear it, but it's not jewelry for a woman, so it's therefore a burden. We'll see more about that. Velo be kol yad. We'll see what that is. Velo be kobelet, velo be slochit shel palyatan. The last two things are something that would smell nice, some herbs, and it's kind of like a deodorant, like wearing a air freshener around your neck, whether from flowers or from or oil. And so all these things as well are not considered jewelry. It's just deodorant, and so therefore is not okay. The kol yad, you could see here, comes from a Greek word, and it means some round ornament, brooch, that it looks like a snail. That's why it's called that. Okay, so not this brooch and not any of these things that are there for deodorant. That's the opinion of Rabbi Meir, the minority opinion. Chachamim potrin bechobelet ubeslochit shel palyaton. They say that they agree with all of the things in the list except for the last two, and they say those are okay. Patur, still not permitted midrabanan, but patur midoraita, and the reason is because although they're not jewelry, we don't have to be afraid that the woman's going to take it off because she needs them because she wants to make sure she smells good. So we'll see that further in the Talmud. Good. Amad ola v'chilufehen beish. Regarding the ring, it's the opposite for a man. That if a man wears a plain ring, that would be considered carrying for him because he doesn't usually wear a plain ring, so it's not a tachshit. But if a man wears a signet ring, then that's okay because that is what he usually wears. Maybe you're showing off your ring? Okay, you have a plain ring there, so that's the opposite. Alma kasabat ula komidide chazi leish la chazi leisha, midide chazi leisha la chazi leish. So it's appropriate for one, not appropriate for the other, and vice versa. In other words, the point is that you don't say since something is in general an ornament, a piece of clothing, even if it's not used by most people, if it's used by some people, then you might think it's used for anyone can wear it. No, these are two different realms and two different dress codes. And so therefore two different definitions. But we have a question about that. Metiv Rav Yosef haroim yosim basakin, velo haroim bilvad amru, ela kol adam, ela shedarkan shel haroim laset besakin. Shepherds used to wear this clothing that would protect them when they're out doing their job. They would wear the sack, And they're allowed to wear that on Shabbat, even though it's not normal clothing, it's shepherd clothing, but they're wearing it. And not only them, but anyway, this Tosefta says this. Anyone can dress that way, even though it's not normal clothing for them. It's kind of like jeans that used to be worn by people riding horses, and then it became popular for everybody. So you're still allowed to wear jeans, even though you're not a pioneer going out west. And so everyone is allowed to wear them. Now, this is a question because from this source, this Tosefta, sounds like even though it's not normal clothing for you, if it's a normal clothing for some segment of the population, then anyone's allowed to wear it. If we apply the same logic, a ring that is appropriate for men only, but once it's clothing, why don't you say it's appropriate clothing for women also, and vice versa? That's our question. Ela amad Rav Yosef, kasabat ula nashim am bifnei atzman hen. That's a funny line if you take it out of context. Women are their own nation, right? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Okay, in context, is simply saying that men's clothing and women's clothing are two different realms, and so therefore you can't cross over from one to the other, which is different than shepherds. Even if you're not a shepherd, they're not a different nation. It's not a different category altogether, and so you can still dress like a shepherd if you're not like a shepherd, but you can't dress like a man if you're a woman, or vice versa. Okay, Itibe Abaye, we have a question about that. Hamoseh tefillin machnisan zug zug, echad ish ve'echad isha. We have another Tosefta that says if you're out walking in the Reshut Rabim and you find a pile of tefillin there, and this is not good, you don't want to leave them there. They're not safe. It might rain. They might get ruined, and they're expensive items. They're also holy items, and you want to save them. Not sure what the pile of tefillin, maybe the sofer was carrying them and dropped them or something. And so you want to save them on Shabbat. Now we have a problem. You can't just pick them all up because that'd be carrying. So what do? You put them on, even though on Shabbat, no, we don't wear tefillin on Shabbat, but for this case, just to save them, we'll put on, a pair, and then go walk inside, take them off, go outside again, put on another pair, and bring them inside until we clear out all of them. Both a man and a woman, right? So a woman can also participate. She's the one that finds it, and she can put on the tefillin and take them inside. Okay. V'yamat nashim am bifnei atzman hen, if you say they are a different nation, meaning a different category of clothing altogether, then you should not apply this because women are not chayavot in tefillin. It's a time-bound mitzvah, and so since women do not usually wear tefillin, it's not part of their clothing. And just because it's a clothing of a man, right? You wouldn't say it's clothing of a woman if you think they are separate nations. But from the fact that, according to this Tosefta, a woman can put on the tefillin to carry inside, you see that it's not considered carrying for her. And so even though it's generally a man's clothing, once it's a man's clothing, women could wear it also. And if you say that, then we have a question back on the rings. So what if it's one kind of ring or another kind of ring, right? It should be allowed both ways. Hatam kasava Rabbi Meir, laila zeman tefillin hu, v'shabbat zeman tefillin hu. Hava le mitzvat aseh shelo zman gerama, v'chol mitzvat aseh shelo zman gerama, nashim chayavot. In fact, you would be right according to the majority opinion, but Rabbi Meir happens to think that women must wear tefillin. And he is the author. This doesn't say that he's the author of this Tosefta explicitly, but another Talmud connects it with Rabbi Meir. And so this happens to be the opinion only of Rabbi Meir, and he thinks that tefillin are the clothing of women. And that's why she is permitted to wear them on Shabbat, to bring them inside and save them. But you're right, according to a general opinion, that she would not be able to wear them even to bring them inside on Shabbat. Okay, now we ask, wait, back on the general rule of people wearing a ring, isn't that, why would you say chayav, if a woman wears a signet ring, even if it's not her typical clothing, and even if it is considered a burden, that's not a typical way of carrying something. If you were carrying a stamp that's used as a notary, you've carried in your hand. Putting it on your finger is not a normal way of carrying. And anything that you do in an abnormal way, you don't bring a korban for, right? It's considered patur, it's considered rabbanan, anything you do with a shinui. And so this kind of carrying, although it's a ring, it's only a ring for a man, and it's not the normal way that a woman would use it. and it's not clothing for her either. So in any case, why she should be patur because of that. Amar Yirmiyah, Beisha Gizbarit Askinan. Oh, we're talking about a woman who happens to be a treasurer. And so that's part of her job. She's always stamping things. And so, although it's not jewelry for her, so for a man who's always stamping things, it's also considered jewelry for him because he shows how he's important and how he's an official, he's rich, he does things. For a woman, even if she happens to use it all day, it's not considered clothing, so she's not wearing it. But this woman who does wear it for her job, that is the normal way that she wears it, and so therefore it is considered. It's the normal way she would carry it. So therefore, it's not kilachar yad; it's direct carrying. And here we have a manuscript problem. Amar Rabba bar bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan teratzta isha ish mai ika lememar. Okay, fine. You explained it about for a woman because a woman could be a treasurer, and so some women do wear signet rings as useful items, not as ornaments. But what about a man? You said the opposite is true. And if a man wears a woman's ring, he is also chayav. But that's not since he's not wearing it. That's not the normal way for transporting a woman's ring for a man. Let me a second about this manuscript. If you look in the printed editions, it says everything, all these words. Amar Rabba bar bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. However, in the Vilna edition, they put these words in parentheses, and there's a note on the side that says, "Don't read the Rabbah with a he, but rather with an aleph." So it changes the name. Well, let's see what's going on. Usually in yeshivot, they tell you should not read what's in parentheses, because the editor wants to take it out. And academic circles, we say read the parentheses because that's what was there originally. Okay, but if we really want to know what's going on, we should look at the manuscript, which is here. This is from the site genizah.org, which you can all go to for free. And this column is the Vilna edition. That's what we just saw. The Venice edition, which is the first printing in 1520, has Amar Rabba bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. In other words, has the same thing, but without the parentheses. That's the original printed edition that the Vilna said to change. If we look at this Italian manuscript, it has the same as what the Vilna edition has. And also the Munich manuscript, the only complete manuscript of the Bavli, has Amar Rabba bar Chana, does not have Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, but it has the first name. And then the Vatican has Amar Rava, and that's it. But the Rava itself is added in the margin. So there is one manuscript to back up the change that's in the Vilna, but both of these manuscripts and the original have the full name, Amar Rabba with a he, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So therefore, just based on majority, I would leave it as is and not change it to and not use the parentheses. Okay, so that's an example of where best to read as is, but always good to check the manuscripts. All right, it's the same statement no matter who said it, but okay, here's why they do it. Ela Amar Rava. See, usually when you have someone said something and then Ela Amar Rava, that person is usually the one that rejected. Yirmiyah said something, Rava says, what about this? And then it says, rather, he gives the answer. So that's why it would make sense that Rava is the questioner here. And that's probably why someone changed it to be Rava. But it looks like the original is in fact just like this. Someone asked the question and Rava is giving another answer. All right, back to the content. So Rava now needs to explain why when a man wears a woman's ring, he should be chayav chatat, even though it's a shinui, it's not his normal way of carrying it. Well, he says, no, it happens. A man might sometimes take his own signet ring and give it to his wife and say, hey, take this to the safe. And while she's transporting it, she's not going to hold it in her hand. Even if I fall off, she'll put it on her finger. So even though it's not her ring, that's a normal way to transport someone else's ring. And so too, women sometimes says, hey, take my ring, can you take it to the jeweler to fix? And so the man is now he's not going to carry it in his hand, he's going to wear it, even though it doesn't look right on him, pinky finger, right? So he's still going to wear it in that way, although it's not the normal way for him to wear it, right? This is like when, out with my wife walking in the city, and she says, my purse is too heavy. Can you carry it for me? And then I'm spending most of the day carrying a woman's purse. So do I have to wear it differently? Can I wear it on my shoulder? Right? Okay. Next time, I just tell her to leave it in the car. All right, so that ends our description of the rings. Now the next items, lo bekulyar velo bekobelet. My kulyar, what is this? Amarava machbanta, a brooch that she would pin her blouse together. Good. Kobelet amarav chumrata defilon. This is a bundle of fragrant herbs that she would use as deodorant. Tanu Rabbanan, lo teseh bekobelet v'miasta chayav chatat, dibre Rabbi Meir. Hachem omrim lo teseh v'miasta petura, Rabbi Eliezer omer yotza isha bekobelet lechatechila. Okay, so the Mishnah gave us just 2 opinions about the kobelet, and now we have a Braita that gives us 3 opinions. So it fills out the situation and tells us that Rabbi Meir says chayav chatat, you're not allowed to wear these fragrance bottles. Midoraita. Hachamim say you shouldn't, but patur of alasur. In other words, midrabanan. Rabbi Eliezer says you are allowed to do it 100%. You can lechatechila. Okay, what is the basis of their controversy? Rabbi Meir sabar masoyhu. So the first opinion, Rabbi Meir says it's a burden. You're carrying it. We saw this exact formulation a few dapim earlier, so it repeats. Rabbanan sabre takshitu. They say it is an ornament. That's why it's allowed meodoraita. But she might show it to her friends, and so therefore the rabbis made a gezerah. Rabbi Eliezer sabar man darka le mirmeh isha sherechara la shalfa mechavya vela atya le'etuyeh 400 b'shut harabim. What kind of woman is wearing this air freshener? It's someone who smells bad. So she's not going to take it off in public because then people will smell her and sell that she smells bad. So she's going to be very careful to keep it on all the time. Okay, this reminds me of sleepaway camp, how we used to clean our clothes. We just put right guard on it. Okay, now it's clean. All right, so now we have to have these 3 opinions. Tanya, hold on, Rabbi Eliezer, we have another version. In the second braita, we'll call this the first braita. This will be the second braita. Rabbi Eliezer poter bekobelet ubeslochit shel palyaton. He says here patur. Patur means patur aval asur. This means asur midrabanan. Here he says mutar, you can do it. Here he says there's like a gezerah, like the middle opinion. So which one did Rabbi Eliezer really say? La kashya. Ha kikae ad Rabbi Meir. Ha kikae ad Rabbanan. Actually, he really permits it. But when he's speaking to Rabbi Meir is the one who said not allowed at all. When he's speaking only to Rabbi Meir, which is the second one, we'll see the rest of it. That's why he said patur, because compared to him, he's more lenient. When he's speaking to Rabbanan, who said patur, then he says mutar altogether. So he's responding to each person at his level. Ki ka'e Rabbi Meir damar chayav chatat amale patur. Ki ka'e Rabbanan damar patur aval asur amarihu mutar lechatechila. He doesn't want to go to an opposite extreme. He just is one step more lenient. Omay Rabbi Meir. What is the original context of this Rabbi Meir statement? The Tanya lo teseh isha b'mafteach shebeyada b'myatzah yasat chayavet chatat. Dibre Rabbi Meir. Woman may not go around carrying a key. Okay, this sounds like, remember the tie clip with the key? And if she does, chatat, so asur midoraita. Rabbi Eliezer poter bakobelet ubasluchit shel pelatyan. And he says patur. So it's every baraita wants to have like a parallelism. He said chayav, so the opposite of chayav is patur. And he didn't go as far to say what he really thinks, which is mutar. Now, hold on. We have a weird version of this baraita because the first statement said you can't have a key. And then it said, the fragrance bottle. So kobelet man dachar shema. Who brought up the fragrance bottle? Nobody's talked about that. Why is that coming up in the second half of Rabbi Eliezer? The version that you said of this baraita is missing words, and here's the full version. Hachikatane. V'chen bakobelet v'chen b'slochit shel palyaton lo teseh v'im yatzea chayevet chatat divrei Rabbi Meir. You have to fill in the words. It says a woman should not wear a key, should not take out a key, and also she should not have a fragrance bottle of herbs or one of oil. And if she does, chayevet chatat. That's Rabbi Meir's opinion. Rabbi Eliezer responds and says, he agrees about the key, he disagrees about the other two. And so there he just went one step down to say, you said chayav, I say patur. Now we're going back to the full baraita. It says this is only true when there is oil in the flask. But if it's empty, then even he would agree, even Rabbi Eliezer would agree that chayav. Because a bottle by itself is not an ornament. It's only meant to hold the fragrant oil. If there's no fragrant oil in it, then the flask has no purpose and is simply carrying. Amar Avada bar Ahava, zot omeret hamotzi ochalin pachot mikashiur bakli chayav. Daha en ba bosem kepachot mikashiur bakli dameh uvekatani chayevet. From here, he says, from this law, from this baraita, we might be able to solve a problem we had elsewhere, which is if you are carrying less than a shi'ur of food. Generally, a date's worth is how much you have to carry outside to be chayav. If you carry less than that, patur. So if you carry less than a date's worth of food in a basket, a little basket, right? Then it says you should be chayav because even though I'm carrying less than a date's worth, but because I'm carrying less than a date's worth, even though I'm carrying less than a date's worth, I'm not chayav for the food. I should be chayav for the basket because it should be the same as this case where I'm carrying a flask with no oil in it. Rav Asher says no, you can't derive that. No, even if you have a little food in it, still the basket is tafel, is subservient to the food. I'm not carrying the basket for the basket's sake. I'm carrying the basket for the little bit of food that's in there, and the little bit of food is less than the chayav. So therefore, I'm patur altogether, even if it's a big basket with a little food. This case is different because there's no oil at all. So I can't say that the flask is subservient to the oil because there is no oil. Now you're just carrying a basket for its own sake, and therefore that's carrying. Okay, so we compared those two. Now, the next item. Now we're going to move into the Agadah. Reshit Shemanim Yimshahu is a pasuk from Amos. Maravu da Amos Shemuel ze Palyaton. So when Amos says that woman, here, I'll show you the Pesukim. Okay. Look, well, it's good to look at the context because we're going to spend a little bit of time on this. Hoy hasha'ananim b'tzion, v'botechim b'har shomeron. Right? Amos is rebuking those people who are at ease and confident, who are living in luxury up in the north in Samaria. He's talking about around the time of the destruction of the northern 10 tribes. Amos is an early prophet. And he says, you guys, you rich people, there's destruction coming, there's suffering all around you, and you're ignoring it, and you're sitting in luxury. All right, go over. Are you guys any better than these other kingdoms? Are you bigger than them? Right? What do you think don't you see what's going to happen? You people who lie on ivory beds, mitot shen usruchim al arsotam, and lying about on their couches, Ochelim karim misan, eating fat lambs, agalim mitoch marbek, and eating calves from the stalls, fresh meat. Haportim al pi hanabel kedavid chashvu lahem keleshir. You're sitting and playing on your lutes, and you think you're such great musicians like David. It's interesting. It's one of the earliest references to David as a famous musician. Hashotim b'mizreke yayin, and you drink straight from the wine bowls. Reshit shemanim yimshachu, the choicest oils you use to anoint yourselves. V'lo nechlu al sheber Yosef, and you don't care about the ruin of Yosef of the northern tribes. Lachen ata yiglu berosh kolim v'sar mizrach seduchim. Therefore, when exile happens, you guys who are ignoring it, you're going to be the first to go into exile. And you're no longer going to have these festive meals. Okay, so the context is people who are taking advantage of luxuries when it's not inappropriate, when it's a time for sadness. So when it says Resh Shemanim, Rabbi says, what is the best oil out there? It's this type, Palyaton, balsam oil. Nativ Rav Yosef, Af al Palyaton Gazar Biuda ben Baba, Velo Hudu Lo. Hold it. We have, after the destruction of Bet HaMikdash, the sages said one should not be so luxurious. You should cut down on your enjoyment and as a memory of the destruction. And Rabbi Yehuda ben Baba said we shouldn't use balsam oil anymore. But the other sages disagreed and they rejected that decree. If you say that the purpose of the decree was to limit pleasure, why didn't they agree since this is the choicest of oils? In Amos, it said, also mentioned the people who live in luxury and they drink out of these wine bowls. What are the wine bowls? Some say that it's some kind of contraption that two people can drink out of it at the same time. Yeah, and other people say that they used to take their cups and throw them back and forth to each other like jugglers without it spilling. And so they used to have fun with these drinking games. And hachinami dasir. So are you going to say that that also is prohibited? In other words, is everything on the list that Amos mentioned that people were doing, should we prohibit everything on that list? But we don't do that. This rabbi went to the exilarch. Remember, we mentioned him a few times. He's the head of the community. He was very wealthy. And they were drinking out of this kind of vessel. And no, he didn't say anything. So obviously, that's after the destruction. And nobody had a problem with doing that. So why are you assuming that just because it's on this list, then the rabbis would have prohibited it? Ella, kol mideh de'it be'ta'anug ve'it be'simcha gazura banan, v'amidi de'it be'ta'anug ve'let be'simcha la gazura banan. It's actually a very important principle. The things that the rabbis prohibit in memory of the Bet HaMikdash are not things that are only luxurious. There's lots of things that are luxurious. It's rather things that not only give pleasure, but also joy. So that's why at a wedding, at a Brit Milah, right, things that have substantial reason, good reasons to enjoy, and it's also pleasurable, that's when we remember Jerusalem. That's when it's appropriate to do it. But just standard luxuries are not part of the Gezerah. Okay, so that explains that. Now, once you mention this pasuk in Amos, we're going to go into Agadah and explain it further. Hashochabim al mitot shen usruchim al arsotam. Well, what does that mean? They're lying on ivory beds. Well, it just looks like they're using very expensive beds, but they're going to add more to it. That they would urinate in front of their beds, not just they rather than go to the next room or go to the corner in private, they would just be lazy and do that right in front. It's disgusting. Megadef ba Rabbi Abahu yachi hainu dichtiv lachen atay yiglu berosh kolim. Rabbi Abahu ridiculed this interpretation. What, they should be the first to go into exile? I know it's not seemly, it's unhygienic, it's disgusting, but it's not so evil that they should be exiled for it first. אלו בני אדם שהיו אוכלים ושותים זה עם זה, ודובקים מיטותיהם זו בזו, מחליפין נשותיהם זה עם זה, מסריחין על סותם בשכבת זרע, שאינן שלהם. Rather, this is talking about a much worse sin. People eating and drinking together and joining beds, swapping wives, and polluting their beds. Those are the people that are fundamentally evil, and they deserve to go into exile. אמר רבי אבהו, ואמרי לב מתניתת תנא, שלושה דברים מביאים את האדם לידי עניות. ואלו הן, המשתין מים בפני מיטתו ערום, ומזלזל בנטילת ידיים, ושאשתו מקללתו בפניו. Now that you mentioned those people, so he mentions there's three categories of people who come to poverty. Those who urinate in front of their beds, those who make light of nitilat yadayim, washing hands before bread, and those whose wives curse them in their presence. What are these three things? Defining it further, that's only if he's facing his bed. But if he goes to the other side and facing away, it's not a problem. And also, even if it's towards, it's only if it's straight onto the ground. If it's into a vessel, I mean, that's what they did. They didn't have bathrooms nearby. They have to go out to the outhouse in the middle of the night. So as long as in a vessel, you do it in a nice way, that's okay. This is only people that don't wash their hands at all. But if he washes his hand but stingily, only uses a little bit of water, that person won't go into poverty. But the Talmud says, no, actually, that's not quite true. Not everybody agrees. I like to put plenty of water on my hands, and I have gotten plenty of reward because of that. So therefore, it is good advice to add more water. All right. Nowadays, when we know how important keeping your hands clean and washing all the time are to health, good health, we can identify with this. What is she cursing about? About jewelry. So now we come back to the theme of jewelry, right? A man who doesn't give his wife jewelry, doesn't take care of her needs, and causes her to be upset. That person he thinks he's saving money by not taking care of her, but actually that person will come to poverty. Of course, this only applies to someone who can afford it, and if you can't afford it, then we don't blame the guy for not buying his wife jewelry.
This doesn't feel like it was the original intention, aside from the other ones, but this one specifically, it says bifanav. It's kind of like if your wife disrespects you, you do nothing about it.
Right. Kind of keep peace and order in your home.
And then this is kind of like, if you don't buy her jewelry, then it seems like it would be like even if she because she's going to cry and curse you, and then not necessarily bifanav.
Good. Okay, so maybe this line is inserted to make a transition back to jewelry, because that's what we're going to be talking about now. Darash Rabba Bere de Rab Ilai, Mai Dichtiv Vayomer Hashem Yan ki Gabhu Benot Sion Shehayu Mehalechot Bekoma Zikufa Vatelachna Netuyot Garon Shehu Mehalechot Akev Besad Gudal Umesakerot Enayim Dava Melan Kuchala Le'enayhu Umeramezan. Hold it. Before we go further, I want to show you the Pesukim in Yeshaya. This is another very interesting perek. We'll look at the last few Pesukim. Okay. So Hashem says, because the daughters of Zion, Gabhu Benot, they make themselves haughty, and they go Netuyot Garon, they go with their necks stretched out, sakerot einayim, and with their eyes looking around or painted, chalof v'tafof telachna, mincing gait, v'raglehem ta'akasna, making tinkling noises with their feet. We'll see what all that means. V'shipach Adonai kodkod benot Zion, and God will make bare the pates, the foreheads of benot Zion, Adonai poten ye'areh, and uncover their heads like a sotah, to be disheveled, to be embarrassed. Okay, so and God, that day, God will strip off. Yasir Adonai yatiferet ha'achasim v'ashebisim v'hasaharonim v'netifot v'asherot v'hada'alot, and God will remove all their finery, and it gives a list of all different jewelry and turbans, armlets, amulets, nose nizmeh zahav, everything will be stripped off of them. And instead of them, v'tachat bosem makiyeh, tachat chagora nikpa, v'tachat maaseh miksheh korcha, v'tachat petigil machkoret sak ki tachat yofi. So perfume, there'll be instead of an apron, a rope, instead of diadem, a beaten work, shorn head, instead of a rich robe, a girding of sackcloth, a burn instead of beauty. Okay, very graphic and a prophecy. And if that's not bad enough, the Midrash is going to dramatize it even more. So what does it mean that their heads were held high, that they were walking with all straight and in a haughty way? And what does it mean that their necks were stretched out? Akeh besad gudal, that they would walk with in small steps, like in a provocative way, with the heel and the toe right back to back. Mesakerot enaim, that they put kachol, they put blue eyeshadow on their eyes, and they would be indicating, making signs with their eyes, provocative signs. Eyeshadow appears in many places as what prostitutes would wear. It comes up in the book of Chanoch, where the bad angels come down and teach women. It says specifically eyeshadow. They didn't like eyeliner at all back then. That they would go walk a tall woman next to a short woman, so that the tall woman would look taller, right? She'd get her short friends to come so she could look better. וברגליהן תעקסנה, רב יצחק בדבר רבי עמר, מלמד שמטילות מור ואפרסמון בין עליהן, מהלכות בשוקי ירושלים, כיוון שמגיעות 10 בחורי ישראל, בועטות בקרקע, ומתיזות עליהן, ומכניסות בהן יצר הרע כארס בבכעוס. Look at this trick they would use. They would put a little perfume bottle at their feet, and when they got to the guys, they would smash it with their feet, and the perfume would come out, and that would be draw them in like yetzer hara, right? So that was their trick, to use perfume in this negative way. And what would be their punishment? And so instead of sweet smell be a stench, that the place where they put the besamim, wherever around their necks, that will then be that will be the where the bad smell comes from. Tachat hagora nikpa, and instead of a rope, the place where they put their the place where they put their belt, besilsul naaseh nekafim will get all bruised. Tal maaseh miksha korcha. Wherever they put their jewelry on, that place will become all bare, empty. Tachat pitigil machagot sak. Instead of fine dress, they're going to have sackcloth there. Petachim, so meviim lideh gila yu lemachkoret sak. Their openings, meaning their private parts that were used for joy, will now be sackcloth. Kitachat jofi maraba haynu damre inashe chilufe shufra kiba. Instead of beauty, they'll have a sore. A little bit more. Sipach Hashem kodkod benot Zion. Then melamed she parcha bahen saraat. Tivachav shipam v'shkemenot set sapachat. So this scabs, that means it's talking about leprosy. Similar words. Hashem potchen ye'areh. Rav Shmuel chadamar shenishpechu kikiton v'chadamar shenaasu pitrechen keyar. That their private parts will be like pouring out a lot of blood, and others said that they'll be all thick like a forest, and so another curse. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, anshe Yerushalayim anshe shachat sayu. Adam omed l'chavero bemet sa'alta hayom בפת המילה, בפת שאינה מילה, ביין גור דלי, או ביין חרדלי, מסר ברכה ומסר קצר, וחבר טוב וחבר רע, ולכסתה וכולן לזנוח. Okay, we just talked about the women and all the provocative things that they will do, but the men don't get off scot-free either. And the men, what kind of terrible things will they do? They'll sit around and talk about, hey, what'd you eat today? What'd you drink today? Did you sit on a wide couch or a thin or a skinny couch? But all these are just euphemisms for the types of women: fat, skinny, all that. And so they're having, like locker room talk and disgusting, inappropriate talk. And because of that, That's why punishment and suffering will come on their heads. So there's a little bit more to do here that we could do tomorrow. But what makes this actually very interesting is the attitude towards perfume and jewelry. Right? What is the rabbinic attitude towards these things? And in comparison with their cultures, if you look at Christian writings and Roman writings, they are against it. They are against jewelry and against perfume. They feel like this is like prostitutes wear. This is provocative. Be plain and simple. In Persia, on the other hand, you're asking, general Persian culture said these things are fine. They're appropriate. Regular, upstanding woman dressed with finery and look nice. And so in parallel, so I have a student who's writing her dissertation, and this is one of the main texts that she's looking at, and she's comparing all places in both Tammuz and Midrashim that talk about jewelry, and specifically about smell. That's her main focus, and finds that it's the sources from Eretz Yisrael that talk about these terrible things, that these women are using perfume in these bad ways to engage the men and so on. And in the Babylonian rabbis, in the Babylonian sources, they are much more open to it. And that's where we see that line that we talked about that's added in. Men who don't buy their wives' jewelry, they're going to be punished. Well, that's taking a positive attitude towards jewelry. And so if we put all the halachot we were looking at together with the Agadot, I wonder if they actually come together, not just because it happens to be, some similar word in the middle or one pasuk that links them, but I wonder if there's a deeper link, which is that when the rabbis say a woman should not wear all these pieces of jewelry on Shabbat, and then men other pieces of jewelry, it's not really only about the worry that she's going to carry them, she's going to take them off and show them off. Maybe underlying that gezerah, of that technicality, is really a push toward to be simpler on Shabbat, right? Maybe all week also, that you don't have to have all that jewelry. But as we saw before, the rabbis don't have a mechanism to legislate things during the week that aren't related to kashrut or something else. But for Shabbat, if they tell people don't wear this, then you know what? That's the day that people are going out and seeing their friends. If you're not going to wear in Shabbat, then why would you buy it in the first place, like we saw with the 2 pairs of shoes? And so this legislation, although it's indirectly also so you don't go and take it off and carry it, I think underlying this might be a push in general towards simplicity of dress and against overbearing jewelry, especially the kind that is like so show-offy that you want to take it out and show it off. Don't dress to show off, just dress to look nice. So although it's not explicit, I think the connection between the halacha and Haggadah here can be what's underlying that. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen ve'amen. Thank you, everybody.